and that's so huge, because without that dashboard, without that task management,
you could miss.
You can miss things, and quite frankly, whether you're building a business or you're in sales and in any capacity, the devil's in the details.
Welcome to Advisor Talk with Frank LaRosa. Brought to you by Elite Consulting Partners, it's the only podcast offering unfiltered guidance and direct advice for all things concerning financial advisors, RIAs, and the practitioners in the wealth management business. Learn more and subscribe today at eliteconsultingpartners.com/podcast. And now, here's your host, Frank LaRosa.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Advisor Talk with Frank LaRosa. I am not Frank LaRosa, and to my left, I have our Chief Information Officer, Sue Cheema. Hi, Sue.
Hi, Stacey. Glad to be here.
Yeah, we are so excited to be back. And we're really appreciative for your listening, and hopefully you can take what we talk about here in this podcast to utilize in your practice, whether you are an RIA, a broker-dealer, or an independent practice that's growing and wanting to make better decisions about your business. We hope that this podcast will add to that. So, again, Sue and I are going to talk about some of the ideas, actually right before this podcast, that we were brainstorming about, so that you can utilize your data, right, or your CRMs to help you make the right decisions, better decisions about your business. So this weekend, May 4th, we rolled out JEDI Database Solutions on May 4th. May the 4th be with you. It sounds like a tongue twister.
I love it, though.
But so we are here now that the official rollout has occurred to give you some practical takeaways and ideas that you can now use within your business.
Yeah.
Right? So we thought for today, and this is one of the things that we here at Elite Consulting Partners utilize. It's like our Bible.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Yeah.
It's what drives us every single day, every single morning that we wake up and we turn on our computers, we have a dashboard. So we thought that it would be really useful and effective to sort of play on words, dial in your dashboard. So what does that mean? Without the dashboards that we have within our CRM, which is Salesforce,
right.
There would be a lot of information that we would not have in front of us every day. Even the little things that maybe you don't think about that actually drive your conversations, drive the growth of your business, drive how you work with your clients, how you work and service your clients. We do the same thing here. So we thought for this podcast that we would
could highlight some of that.
Exactly.
Or some of the categories that could be relevant to some of the viewers or listeners.
Right. And that's exactly it. So literally right before this podcast, Sue and I brainstormed some of the categories of data that we think should appear on your dashboards. And we'd love to hear from you if you agree, disagree. So feel free to reach out afterwards and let us know. So just to get going here, I'm just going to rattle off some of the categories, and then we'll touch on them.
Yep.
Again, these are areas that should be demonstrated or visible on a dashboard of your systems when you arrive at your office every single morning.
It should guide your day.
It should guide your day. Yeah. I think that's the really critical thing.
Right.
The data, that should guide your day.
Yeah.
So just a couple of the categories we came up with was task management, follow-up tasks, client info and demographics, resource time for your
resource allocation, resource time allocation, and then we were talking about a referral COI management.
Exactly. Yeah. Centers of influence. Yeah. So why is that important? So we're going to walk through each one, just spend maybe a minute or two describing what that means. And hopefully this gives you an outline or an infrastructure on where you can begin with your dashboards. And of course, Sue and I would be available to help you dive into that a little bit more.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about dashboard idea number one, task management. What does that even mean? I mean, we all have tasks in our day. Yeah. We all have follow-up tasks and reminders, but what would that look like on a dashboard if you were an
Right.
RIA owner or an independent practice owner?
So, what I would love to start with, Stacey, if you don't mind, is especially the way Elite does their visualization of data, right, which is essentially a dashboard, is we curate it to the roles that users play within the firm, right? So as an example, if we transpose the same approach to an RIA, it would be, managing principal. The relevant information is slightly different than client relationship manager versus client relationship associate, and then financial analyst, advisor. So in my past, we have curated based on departments and roles. So when we talk about task management, right, like most roles, departments would take a step back, create tasks like it's due, a week from now, a month from now, 6 months from now, whatever that follow-up looks like. And what we'll do is we'll assign due this week, due this month, due this, this quarter, as an example, at the very least. And then as an end user, I'm able to take that information back and say, okay, I don't have to worry about this project. Not that I don't have to worry about it, but it's not going to be my priority for this week. I can handle it next week when I have done what's urgent or needs to get completed this week.
So basically, when you show up, when we show up to our dashboard every single day here at Elite, I can see, as soon as I turn my computer screen on, what I have going on for the day.
Right.
Which clients do I need to reach out to? Which clients have I forgotten about? And that's a big one, I think, especially for financial advisors.
Like follow-ups, especially when they have their quarterly compliance meetings, right? Based on their tier or whatever is assigning them, whatever the requirement is, whether it's biannually, it's, quarterly or annually, like those dates are coordinated and assigned and created a task
and that's so huge, because without that dashboard, without that task management,
you could miss
things. And quite frankly, whether you're building a business or you're in sales in any capacity, the devil's in the details. It's those little things. And so part of our dashboard, a critical component of our dashboard, and should be for yours, is that piece. So why don't we touch on client info and demographics? So what types of information should show up on a dashboard? Obviously, we don't want to have paralysis by analysis either, and the dashboard's only so big.
Right.
So what kind of client information or demographics should advisors and RIAs think about that they should be displaying on their dashboards, and why?
So I often think about the compliant reporting that are associated to RIAs, and I'll say, like, if you're doing ADV reports or, activities for clients, financial planning, whatever those look like, that we could kind of aggregate that and visualize it into a summary on your dashboard. So in my past, obviously ADV reports are important for RIAs to complete every year. So you're looking at the amount of clients you have, the net worth, how many accredited advisors you have, how many qualified advisors you have, what kind of, funds you may have, what's the net worth look like within each household and all that. And you can aggregate that per CRM, per CSA, right? Really curate that information and present that on their dashboard.
I mean, I think the options are endless, and
the options are endless.
No two businesses would we treat the same.
Oh, 100%.
So my thought is, allow Sue and you and I together,
absolutely,
put our eyes on what you're currently doing.
Yeah.
In terms of how you are having your client information and demographics in front of you on a day-to-day basis.
Right.
Because some might need more options, where others need it to be, more generic. But I think it's per business.
It's per what your KPIs. I think oftentimes, like, when you're getting a CRM, when a firm is getting a CRM, they're like, we want all the information there is under the sun.
Like paralysis by analysis,
right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, when I work with a lot of our clients, like, we'll be like, all right, take a step back. Like, what does your KPI look like? What is the objective of each one of the fields that you're displaying that someone's actually spending time to manage? And then okay, it's driving a decision, and that's where we are kind of aggregating and visualizing those decisions to make them faster, quicker, more relevant, more accurate.
Right, and at your fingertips.
At your fingertips.
Your computer turns on.
Yep.
You've got your task manager.
Yes.
You've got your client information demographics, and now you're ready to begin your day.
Even mobile device, Stacey. Like, you could be walking around with the dashboards in your hand. Like, you're like, how many clients do I have? Wait, let me just pull up my phone. Here's my Salesforce app as an example, right? Here's all the information I need right at my fingertips, like actually at my fingertips.
Right, so that's a really good point. So whether you're a remote worker or you have a brick and mortar office where you're physically, like the good old fashioned way, sitting at your desk, but you can take that dashboard information, that client demographic,
anywhere,
and have it right on your mobile device.
Absolutely.
At the click of a button.
Yep.
That's tremendous. Awesome. Okay. And then the third one we came up with is
the resource time allocation.
Resource time allocation.
Right. We were thinking, the way I was thinking about that one is oftentimes in RIAs you have teams that cater to certain households, whether it's 5 households, 10 households, right? And as a group, like, you can obviously see per household, but as a group, like, how much time are they spending and what are they doing in that time? And what that can empower thereafter is, should we charge more fees from this client because we're spending a lot of time doing this? Or we could take a step back through with that data and say, operationally, how can we make this process a little bit better so this person doesn't have to spend this much time, and then we can have better margins.
Interesting.
I know I said a lot there, but
no, and that's why if you want more information or how does this apply to your business, we'll have a conversation with you and let Sue put her eyes on what you're currently doing and how you're using that data, how your dashboards are helping keep you on track with your business, day to day, week to week, month to month,
absolutely,
so on and so forth.
Yeah.
No, this is really, really tremendous information that. It's ironic how many businesses that we work with don't have this. They have it. They know that it's there, but they don't have the dashboards.
They don't have the aggregate. I think
aggregate.
They don't have the aggregate. Oftentimes you have the data, you don't know what to do with it, right? You're just kind of barely managing it. Even then, like, I know we have done some podcasts on integration, we have done some podcasts on workflows, automation. I think it all kind of combines to create a really good platform that can deliver on some of the analytics that we're referring to.
Yeah, it's awesome. Again, we can be really creative. Again, business to business, everybody's different. Every business is different on what would those categories look like for you. This is just a brainstorm of ideas on where to start, right?
Yeah. This was more like an improv. We sat down, like, what should we talk about today?
Right. Yeah, but I think that the important thing is, I know these are conversations that you are having on a day-to-day basis with your existing clients, our existing clients, and then new prospects of clients that are saying,
how could you help? How could you do this for us?
Right. We have all this information. We know it's there. We're not using it correctly.
Right.
And we're not displaying it correctly.
Right.
So that it dictates our day, because that's what dashboards do. It can really drive your day-to-day function and help you not let things fall through the cracks.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, this is fun. So I think the last one that we kind of brainstormed, which seems a little off the cuff, but we're constantly talking about with our RIA partners, independent practices that we work with, about the significance of their centers of influence. Yeah. So let's help make the connection. Like, why would you have anything about your centers of influence on a dashboard? Like, what's the importance of that?
Well, the way I've done it in the past is centers of influences are really relevant for referral management.
Referral management,
right?
That's the key,
right? And then if you have center of influences within certain regions, and you're sending them, let's say lawyers, right, that are center of influences for your firm, and you're sending them 10 clients, let's say, in a quarter, and they're sending you none, you could have a conversation with them. You could also track how often you're meeting with certain COIs, and if there's need to engage more to nurture that relationship a little bit better, and even through their nurturing, you could create more relationships. So I think the COI is really important for the bottom line, which could be lead gen for your firm.
Right. I think that's what all of this is.
Yep.
It's really a way for you to have continuous growth on your
Right.
business, because it's easy to get distracted and
With all the
over-involved
noise.
with all the noise.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's the beauty of really
Having
any
a
business
dashboard.
why we
Yeah.
have ours to sort of
Right.
keep us on track, preventing us from being derailed into areas that don't ultimately contribute to the top line or the bottom line.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So
It's all about growing the firm and what those goals look like, and breaking those down and visualizing it and staying on track.
that's it.
Yeah.
Being efficient, being a well-oiled machine,
Right.
having everybody on your staff, you included, rowing in the same direction.
Exactly.
Right? It's not always flowers and butterflies, as
It's
we
not.
say.
Lots
but
of challenges.
lots of challenges, but at least we're dialing in our awareness with our data. And I think that's the message that we want to convey here.
Right.
So hopefully this was helpful. We just touched on just a few areas that we utilize within our firm here at Elite. But that maybe you should consider for yours.
Yeah.
But I think if you want to know what's more tailored and custom to your business, your RIA or independent practice,
Let's do
we'll
a
leave you
discovery.
wondering.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, you can't give away the farm.
No, that's fair. I'll leave you wondering. I love
Right,
that.
leave you wondering. But in all kidding aside, allow Sue and our team to take a look at what you're currently doing, make some suggestions, and then maybe add some ideas on how to make it even better.
Right.
So anyway, thanks for listening. We're really excited about the new rollout of JEDI Database Solutions
Love it. Woo.
and what it can do for you. We'd love to have a conversation. So
You can email me at suecheema@eliteconsultingpartners.com.
how do you spell that?
SUECHEEMA. I had to think about my own name there for a second. And my cell is, or the phone where you could reach me at is 516-724-6372.
And again, I am Stacey Frank it's Stacey at eliteconsultingpartners.com. Stacey, don't forget the E. And my number is 856-816-6322. We look forward to consulting with you soon.
Thanks for listening to Advisor Talk with Frank LaRosa. If you're looking for more advice or solutions on any topics in the financial services industry, or you just want to subscribe to our podcast, head on over to eliteconsultingpartners.com/podcasts.